Today I'm having a chat with James Watts, our assistant junior golf coach at Kingsway Golf Centre. He's going to tell us all about his experiences growing up as a junior golfer, playing from beginner level all the way through to elite level. So great insight for your juniors to understand the steps it takes to go through the pathway of beginner, county player, potentially going to England, and then what it takes to make it to a pro level. So hopefully a lot of great information for you. Hope you enjoy it. Let's get started. Okay, right, let's get into it. So obviously this is a chat all about junior golf, your experiences. So coming from somebody with a much better junior experience than me in terms of victories and playing experience, going from county golf to England golf to Euro Pro golf to Challenge Tour golf. I'll stop making your head any bigger at the moment. So let's just start at the beginning and just talk about how you got into golf and what your experiences were.
So I was lucky enough. Golf came in the family. Dad played to a good level. My nan played. My granddad played. So we're all members at East Hearts. Pretty much, Nan used to pick me up after school in junior school, which was in Puckridge, only a mile away. And I think twice a week we'd go up in the summer, play.
Was that to East Hearts?
Yeah, to East Hearts, just play. And then met some friends that were also juniors. So Greg that's working at East Hearts now. We just became friends, and then during the summer holiday we'd just go and play. Slightly different to at Kingsway, that East Hearts is a private members club, so you could just go up there and play, hit balls, putt, chip for as long as you needed, really. And then just going out playing with Dad as a kid. Driving ranges, stuff like that, really.
What were the facilities like there?
So East Hearts obviously got a golf course, got a decent practice ground, a chipping green, and a decent putting green. So you could spend hours doing something and just get carried away, really.
Yeah, obviously a bit different to Kingsway in the sense that it's more course driven, right? So you spend a bit more time at the golf course.
Yeah, it's a typical members, private members club. So the emphasis is on the golf course. But yeah, we'd go out if it's not very busy. Me and Greg would play a couple of times a day, practice, get dropped off at 8:30, picked up at 5, just spend all day there, really.
From what age was that?
I don't know, 10, 11, 12 maybe.
Okay, so a little bit older than probably the average of what our junior section is at the moment. Got a few around that age.
Yeah,
the majority.
Yeah, but as I say, previous to that, he was playing golf with Nan, playing golf with Greg and his mum, and just playing with people, but just getting out on the golf course, really.
Yeah. Okay, and then obviously you mentioned your dad played, or plays rather. How much impact did he have on your golf at that age?
When I was younger, not a huge amount. Let's say it was more my nan that picked me up after school because Dad was working. But as I developed through my junior age, so from probably say 13 or 14 onwards, he was a heavy influence on my golf. Not just driving me to various county sessions or tournaments, but because of his background in playing, he's got a good understanding of what needed to be done, what needed to be worked on, and stuff like that. Really, just a good. He was never a pushy parent. He was always encouraging, and it was all about. He used to drive me to a golf competition, drop me off, hire me a trolley. Right, you're on your own, go do it, and then come back, and he'll pick me up later. So. It was always a case of I was out there on my own doing it, but he was always encouraging.
So a good relationship. And that was
Yeah, very good.
same in practice as well. Like just kind of there for moral support, a little bit of advice.
Yeah, I mean, he always talks about that. When I was a junior, he would never ever give me shots. So we'd go and play 18 holes, and let's say I was 12 years old, and would play off scratch. Bearing in mind he was a low single figure player, and if I halved 2 holes throughout the 18 holes, okay, well next week's target is to halve 3 holes and maybe win one. So it was never a case of, okay, well you can have 10 shots and we see where we are. It was a case of, right, that's what your goal is based on last week, and then we'll see if we can beat it.
Okay. And I'm quite keen to stick on the parents bit at the moment, because obviously this is a big part of what we see in junior golf, a little bit maybe within the academy, a lot in junior golf in general these days is the participation of parents in junior golf. How would it have gone if, let's say, you had a really bad round, or if practice was going bad? Obviously, as a kid, every kid throws a strop at some point in their life. But how do situations get managed?
I think looking back on hindsight, because Dad was understood what it was all about, rather than getting frustrated with a session that's not going well, it's better off to say, okay, well, we're 50% into a session that's not going well. Stop, reevaluate. Okay, why is it not going well? Even if it's a case of, okay, well, the driving range is not going well. Okay, well, let's go do some chipping. Let's completely go the other end of the spectrum. Don't keep trying to hammer home something that's not working well.
Yeah.
Which I think we see a lot of, whether or not it be kids or adults that are on the range and it's not going well, and then they're 40 balls into 100 balls, and then they keep going, getting frustrated. Yeah, my advice would be, okay, well, it's not going well. If you can't fix it and you're not sure why it's not working, I think there's a difference between you're trying something and it's not working and you don't know why it's not working. Just go, okay, well, let's go outside for half an hour, do some chipping, do some putting, come back in and try again. I mean, there's so many stories of professional golfers shooting 65 one round, 85 or 80 the next round. You wake up on a different day and it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
That's golf. It is what it is.
Yeah, and this is coming from a parent that, without going into too much detail, your dad's pretty awesome at golf.
Yeah, back in his day, he was quite tidy. Well, still is. He can still get it round.
So there's a player that knows a lot of the ins and outs of how to swing a golf club, and not really challenging your swing too much if you're having problems, but more just suggesting to change the situation, change the scenarios, and revisit it, maybe with the right people around you, the right coach. Yeah, so that, I think that'd be quite
it
good.
might be.
Go on, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it might even be a case of, if you're at the golf centre, and it might be a case of, Chris, someone's struggling, and you say, are you working on this? Are you concentrating on this? And they go, oh no. And then it's like a one sentence thing from a coach.
Yeah.
And then you're on the right track again. But if you don't know what you're doing, it's tough to get out of the rut.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously with the amount of kids that we have at Kingsway, you and I both walk down the range of an evening and see several of the kids hitting golf balls, some hitting it really well, some might be struggling. And we just don't have the time to always stop and quickly help, because we might be on our way into a lesson. And I think that advice is really good, that if something's not working, don't try and fix it if you don't know what you're doing. Just come back to that when you've got the right people around you, and go do some chipping, go do some.
I mean, the summer's coming now, and hopefully when we get out of this, what we're in, the nights will be longer, so you can just nip outside for 10 minutes and do something, reevaluate and come back in.
Yeah, good. And then back to you and your playing then. So obviously you've talked about your experiences at East Hearts. You got your first handicap, or you started playing around, like seriously around 11, 12, 13. Then you obviously progressed into county golf, played for Hertfordshire.
Yep.
Okay, how does that come about? How do you get into county?
Well, it's merely on playing, really. If you don't go and play, you don't get recognised and you can't get selected. So I'm a big advocate. Dad was a big advocate of getting out and playing. So we used to play junior opens as often as there was one available that I could go and play. I'm not quite sure how many there are now, what competitions there are available for kids, but we would just go, what's local, when does it fit, just go and play. I'd say, drop me off, hire me a trolley. I'd pull my trolley around for 18 holes, come in, have burger and chips and see how you did. But if you don't play, you don't get recognised for what you can do, really.
Yeah, obviously we've still got junior opens, I think, at every club, certainly within Cambridge, Hertfordshire. Below that, there's the British Junior Golf Tour, the Futures Tour in Hertfordshire, lots of little circuits going on. But obviously to get into county, it's that getting into junior opens. So in order to do that, you need a handicap, right?
Yeah.
So being a member of a golf club, obviously we've sent letters around about becoming members at Kingsway or local clubs to give you that opportunity.
And I mean, when I had, throughout my junior career, although my handicap was at East Hearts, if you looked at the amount of the ratio between away competitions and club competitions, the away always outweighed everything because I was playing in everything and cards were getting sent back. So although my home club was East Hearts, I very rarely had the cards from there.
Okay. And when you got to county, what was that, about 13, 14 years old?
Yeah, the development squads from there, based at Chesterfield Downs in Stevenage. It was just groups of lads coming through. Made some great friends that lasted through my junior career, men's career, professional career, still in contact with now. So county's a great way of meeting people, meeting new coaches, learning new skills, more advanced skills, ways of practice than what you would do sort of just at home with your regular coach, really.
Yeah. And what handicap were you off when you got to that development squad, roughly?
I can't remember.
So around 14 years old. Any ideas?
I know at 16 I got to plus figures, but what I was at 14, no. Okay. I can't remember. Probably not far off single figures, I would have said.
Okay. So yeah, I think I only ask because this is a conversation as well. You get a lot of parents and kids asking, "Oh, what handicap should I be at 13? What handicap should I be at 14?" And often the answer is it really doesn't matter. I think I read something, I might be wrong, but Jordan Spieth, I don't even think he had a handicap until he ended up playing the US Amateur, and he got his first handicap then. But in America, they were all about playing length appropriate courses, and it was just learning to shoot the lowest score possible. A handicap was really irrelevant.
Well, if you go and play away competitions, all you're doing is your handicap is just basing you to get in the event. You play for a handicap. Let's say you turn pro, you play with a handicap up until you're 20, and then you spend the next 50 years playing off scratch with no handicap. So a handicap is important, but it's certainly not the be-all and end-all. I mean, I was lucky enough to win my first junior open, I think about the age of 14, which was at John O'Gaunt.
Yeah, I was.
Pardon?
I was a junior there.
Yeah, and I think I was like the youngest lad in the field and the highest handicap. So, but I can't remember what I shot, but it was good enough to win the scratch event. So, um, handicap is important, but it's not the be all and end all.
No, no, absolutely. Good bit of advice. And then the progression continued. You then ended up playing for England. What age was that?
So my first England game was an under-16s game versus either Italy or Spain, I
Away or
believe.
home?
No, it was at home, unfortunately. But that was at the back end of the under-16 year, and then got into obviously the under-18 squads. Was lucky enough to play home internationals. Did a lot of travelling with England, Japan, South Africa, around Europe. So yeah, it was really good. Again, it's just a progression from county. You meet more lads, meet new coaches, new philosophies. Just again getting encouragement from all the coaches. So that was a really good time to be part of that England junior setup.
Yeah, incredible opportunities to be taken abroad as well to play golf. It's a bit of a step up from
Yeah,
what you know at the starts. And
yeah, from junior opens at 14 to 4 or 5 years later, traveling around the world is a big change, but great experience.
And what's the pathway to achieve England level? Because obviously we've got quite a big country full of thousands of golf courses, thousands of juniors that are just incredible golfers, all striving for the same thing. And how many can get in the squad? So,
so the first team I played in was a team of 4. Boys Home Internationals was a team of 10. Pardon?
Best 4 in the country.
Well, the fortunate 4, shall we say? But Boys Home Internationals was a team of 10, I believe, or it could be 12. But it's just playing. If you're not playing, these England representatives can't see you, can't see your scores, and you don't get on the radar. I was lucky enough that I got picked up after that Junior Open win at 14. I went into an England development squad, which was, I think, 2 or 3 sessions a year. But you've got to play to get recognised, to move up, in the sort of in the England setups and the county setups. Playing your home golf course in the medals is not going to get you recognised.
Yeah. And then so obviously you've talked there about going from starting golf all the way through to England level. We won't go into too much detail, but just give a little insight into where that then led to before you turned pro, or the journey to turning pro.
So I played boys golf, won a few events, played, say, Boys Home Internationals, was lucky enough to play World and European Boys. And then once you finish that year, you're then straight into men's golf. So it's not a case of, okay, well, you progress on your age level. It's now men's, and you're now in the deep end with the top guys around Europe. So from there, it was just a case of playing in the big amateur competitions, British Amateur, English, and going from there, really. Played that for a couple of years, mixed success. It's a big step up from playing junior golf to playing men's golf, and then turned pro in 2010 after winning the Euro Pro Tour School. I went to the tour school just to see what would happen. If I bombed out, I wasn't going to turn pro. If I did well, and got a card. I was going to turn pro, and I was very fortunate that I won it. It came with a sponsored car. It came with a prize fund, and as an amateur, I couldn't win any of it. So I won the event. No car, no check, but gained the full card, so turned pro.
Perfect. And then obviously played a couple of years Euro Pro Challenge Tour.
Yeah, played
on the European Tour.
Played three or 4 years at Euro Pro level. First year bombed out. Was a big change from playing amateur golf. Playing for your livelihood as opposed to playing for fun is very different. So did awful that first year. Went back to the tour school, got my card again, progressed, went to European Tour School, another learning experience, played again on Euro Pro, back to European Tour School, gained a Challenge Tour rank in there, sort of jumped between Challenge Tour and Euro Pro, and then in 2014 finished third or fourth on the Order of Merit Euro Pro, which gave me a full Challenge Tour card, which meant that I could play pretty much all the events on the Challenge Tour the following year, which again is another step up. I mean, Challenge Tour's one down from the European Tour, so you go from playing your junior level with your age group to playing men's golf, to playing professional golf, to playing one below main tour. And each step, it just gets harder and harder. I mean, the guys on Challenge Tour, it was a big shock because they just stand there, smash drive as hard as they can. Whoever shoots 20 under that week is going to win. If you don't shoot 20 under, well, okay, next week you try and shoot 20 under, because the rewards for winning and getting into the top 15 are obviously of your European Tour card. So it was just a sort of race to the finish line. Very different to sort of playing rounds Euro Pro, where you're trying not to make bogeys, keeping your score going. These guys are just, well, whoever makes the most amount of birdies is going to win. So different environment, something that you've got to adapt to again. My game was not sort of like smashing it and go finding it. So it was difficult, but it was a great experience.
So like when we were growing up, I was with Bedfordshire, and we all knew about the Hertfordshire lads, James Wattses, you got Tom Lewis's, and all these great golfers coming out of that side. Obviously, you became quite a big fish in a small pond in that sense, in the way that you've gone from being a great junior golfer through county level into England, and then, as you said, it was a big shock to the system when you go into the Challenge Tour. How do you handle those pressures? Because, it's not really that relatable, but I'm going to try and make a relationship here. We've got juniors that are going to be entering their first junior opens, getting in county for the first time, and they're going to feel pressures that, okay, they're not going to be on the same level as going from amateur to pro, but they're going to be pressures that set them on that journey. So how do you deal with those pressures?
I think the biggest thing that I learned was you can only be in control of you. Okay, you're playing in whatever level it is. You have to have a game plan, and your game plan has to be suited to you. You can't worry about. I mean, when I played Challenge Tour, Nicholas Lemke, who's only just got his main tour card the last couple of years, he hit it forever, like miles. So if you were in a group with him, there's no point standing there trying to smash it. You have to go to the event, know what you're good at, plan your way around the golf course, and then just be focused on you. I watched Sky Sports News the other day, and it had Tiger on there. When he talked about when he played in the final round with Mickelson at the Masters, they didn't talk for 13 holes. And then it was only when Tiger outdrove Phil with the 3-wood And Phil turned around and said, "You normally hit it that far with a 3-wood?" And Tiger said, "No, I normally hit it further." But that was the first thing they said to each other in the final round of the Masters, because they were so focused on their own game and their own end goal, whether or not that's junior level or county, England, whatever. You can only do what you can do. There's no point trying to do something that someone else is doing, because you'll just come unstuck.
Okay, cool. And then finally, you're now a junior golf coach as well as a coach to others, the general manager of our golf centre. So lots going on for you. But from the junior golf coach side of things, what do you see that's different from when you were growing up, both positive and negative?
I'd say the only negative side of where we are at Kingsway is you can't spend 10 hours a day at the golf club like me and Greg did. That's the negative of it. On the positive side of the facility, we've got a great range, a great par 3 course. So you can develop skill, but you just can't be there all day on your own. We've got, I think the coaching process has changed since 15 years ago now. Understanding biomechanics, what is needed to help progress the kids quicker.
Sorry, mate, you just cut out for the last 10 seconds of that after biomechanics.
Yeah, so I mean, we've got all these new studies, the TPI stuff. You watch videos on those guys, and they've got kids throwing med balls, they've got kids jumping through hoops, and all little steps at an early age to help give kids the best chance going forward. So understanding that now is great.
Way more athletic than it used to be, right?
Yeah, and it's just everything moves on, stuff changes, science improves, knowledge improves. So sort of every year we move forward is going to hopefully be a better year than it was the year before.
Excellent. And then I was going to ask, what advice would you have for the juniors? But I think if they've listened to this, one thing that you've kept reiterating is getting out on the golf course and playing.
Yeah, you need to play. If you want to be recognised, if you want to get into squads, if you want to progress, you've got to play. You've got to learn to get it around the golf course when you're not playing well. You've got to learn to shoot the lowest number when you are playing well. You can stand on the range and swing it perfect, but if you can't move the swing onto the golf course, it's very difficult. You don't win majors standing on a range. You win them on a golf course, don't you? So my advice would be get out, play, learn how to play, and get it around, really.
Stop being obsessed with what the golf swing looks like.
Golf swings are golf swings. You only got to look at Furyk against Woods, and a number of other players out there. It's about getting it round. One, from my experiences, the guys that shoot the best numbers are the guys that can get it round, not the prettiest golf swings. The golf swing's got to be functional to you, but you got to get the ball in the hole at the end of the day.
Perfect. Excellent. I think we could probably talk about this forever, and potentially we can do more in the future. But if anybody's got any questions, then they've only got to ask in the junior lessons or when they see you at Kingsway. So thanks again, mate.
No problem.
Great effort. And then hopefully everybody's got a lot out of this, and we'll start to see some better golf in 2020 when we eventually get out. Might be 2021 by the time we get out. Nice one, mate. Thank you very much.
No problem at all. See you later.
Cheers, pal. Bye.